Today's U.S. Armed Forces face a number of challenges.
The military
Ukrainian
today
forces
is
in the war
having a
against
hard
Russia,
time filling
how to
its
fend
ranks.
off sophisticated
And it's no
cyber
secret.
attacks.
It's not just the Army, it's
The
everybody.
all-volunteer military has reached crisis levels of low recruitment.
Only 1% of the American population serves in the all-volunteer force, and that creates a disconnect, especially over the last 20
But
years.
I kind of find it very interesting because a few weekends ago I went to a car dealership and I bought another car. I traded in my car. My wife wanted to downsize. So this dude is, he was so eager. You can tell really he's new, and I love that about the guy. Granted, I bought a car that's heavily discounted because it was a loaner. They took $7,000 off of it. So the dude is not going to make money on that deal. Well, at least I think so. A few days had passed. I wanted to install my dash cam to the new car, and I realized that I forgot this plug that I have to plug to the car to power the dash cam. And so I texted him, hey, I forgot something that's important that's attaching to my dash cam. Can I go pick it up? And he responded, sure, why not? And then we set up a time for me to go. So I got there. He said, hey, your car is in the other lot. Do you mind giving me a ride there and you can do your thing? We drove there and we get to talk. It's about maybe a 3-minute drive and, small conversations. And he said, he's getting married soon. He has a fiance, no kid yet. He's about 28 years old. And so I got to my car and I took everything that I needed and I gave him a ride back. On the ride back, this is what everything changed. I was in uniform this time. I had to take my lunch break and go to the dealer and grab it. So we get to talk about how is, the car business today. And he's like, yeah, I'm struggling. I'm still new. Your deal was the first deal I've ever had, and we took a loss. And he said he barely makes, or he actually makes minimum wage. Then I asked him, have you ever thought about joining the Army? And he's like, are you a recruiter? I was like, I was a recruiter for a long time. I work in recruiting command, but I can't literally put myself in the Army, but I can help you talk to the recruiters and I can facilitate the process and make sure you're taken care of. We weren't even talking about the pay. So I talked about the VA loan and, I bought a house with zero money down and the medical benefits, taking care of the family. To my surprise, he didn't know. I say that I'm surprised because it's available everywhere. With the existence of technology, a lot of people don't know about the benefits. And I can speculate why is that. Because we only search of what we're interested in. That's it. If you're not into motorcycles, you're not going to research about motorcycles. When the interest comes in, that's when it becomes important. You learn something new. And that's one example that I'm using to drive my point. But that's not the only encounter I've had. And I know if you know the channel Christopher Chaos.
The Army, the military has been struggling with recruitment. So in this case, you're going to have to make the military better. You're going to have to make the Army better for them to be more enticed to want to join. But I don't think it's enough for the people that are growing up now.
I kind of disagree in what he's saying. Simply because the Army stance, based on this video, was awareness. He actually used the new Sergeant Major of the Army.
What's the biggest suggestion you have for solving the recruiting crisis?
Ooh, getting the word out. How awesome it is to serve your nation. That to me is key. Tons of opportunities, but man, serving your country is awesome.
But I don't think it's enough.
Objectively, of course, he's saying that serving your country is great, but it has to be more than that. We have to make our Army better, which I completely agree. However, he goes to say that awareness is not the answer. Well, that's where I don't agree. Because we assume, since a lot of us are on social media, or we could easily Google, this is the age of Google, or information age we're in. You can get any information you need in the palm of your hand through your cell phone. My own salesman, who's 28 years old, who should know, still did not know about the simple benefits that you get as soon as you enlist. Like buying a house, simple VA loan, cash bonuses as soon as you sign up. But we assume that. An assumption is a mother of all mess up. It's important to this guy. It might not be important to a lot of people, but it's important to him because I'm putting myself in his shoes and I'm thinking, I'm about to get married, and as a man, I have to be able to provide for my family. And I can't sure as shit do that selling cars making minimum wage. If you don't know about the reserve, you go to training, You're getting paid as active duty training, get benefits, and you come back from training and it's 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. And he can keep the same job, or he can even go to college now after he comes back. He doesn't leave his family except for the initial entry training, and he has an opportunity in the future to take advantage of the VA loan to provide a house for his family and unborn kid. And the best thing of it all, he gets to serve his country. But I just want to take the time to point it out that awareness is still the problem. And that's one example that I'm using to drive my point, but that's not the only encounter I've had. I think it goes back to us. We're not sharing our story enough. Now, if you have a bad taste in your mouth because you had a bad leadership experience.
Sergeant Major calls back. He's like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. And first sergeant's like, hey, Sergeant Major, Sergeant Reed's in here. I got you on speakerphone. And the battalion sergeant major goes, well, I don't give a damn. I go to behavioral health one time, and now I got to be babysat. We wonder why soldiers don't seek help.
I get it. Having bad leaders, you really left with two choices to make at that point. Kind of like the fight or flight. The first choice you have is flight. Screw it, I'm out of the Army. Screw the Army. Screw you. I like you. You're okay, but I'm out of this bitch. Second option, I can do better than you. So I'm going to do everything I can within my control, within my power, to get promoted as fast as I can so I could replace you one day. And that also happened to me. Twice. So when I got to the seat, all I had to do was not do what they did and then put inspiration and motivation back into the fold.
I had to spend a lot of time out in the cold, and I sure as hell broke a lot of shit. But most of it is because we intended to. Remember when you told me I'd made a mistake about signing up for the infantry? Remember when you told me all I would do is dig ditches? You remember when you told me you said I would live out in the cold and all I would do is break stuff? Remember when you said I was a dummy? He looked at me and he said, yeah, I remember. Why? I said, well, who's the dummy now? And you never know. A future sergeant major of the Army could be standing out there right on that field in this formation. See, having a military as a nation is a requirement. But service in our military, ladies and gentlemen, is a choice. Not everyone in America can be a soldier, and that's okay. And not everyone in America wants to be a soldier, and that's okay too.
I'll tell you this right now. If you don't learn anything in my video, there's one thing that I learned that's so powerful that I want to share. Never underestimate the power of morale. We do have an awareness problem. I think it's as simple as that. The community doesn't know, even though they can Google it, but if they're not interested in it to begin with, they're not going to research it. They're not going to look it up. Problem is to generate interest. The only way to do that is through our own experiences to spread the word so we can steer them to get interested in the Army, and they could make decisions for themselves if this is the best move for them and their family while serving their country. The other problem is internal. How do we motivate and inspire our own? Focus on morale. Focus on soldier welfare. Focus on how to help your soldiers develop themselves and also help them create a path of career progression. We do that, those two things. We take care of our force. By inspiring and motivate them, awareness will spread. And then if you right now having a bad taste because of your current unit and leadership, you can't fix that. I can't fix that. They're already set in their ways. But you have a choice. Fight or flight. Get out and be salty and talk shit about the Army and your leadership, or get promoted as fast as you can and take their job and do different. And to do that, watch this video right here. Stay new. Have that FNG mentality so you can always learn more than the other guy or girl. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. This is the High Speed FNG.